Hello? Is it me you're looking for? No, didn't think so. Never is. Never is it? Never is. Today, we have our first guest, Kelsy, who's here to talk about relationships, age differences, differences in age differences between the sexes. Should be interesting. Mark, what is the crack?
The crack is this week, 2 days in London. I was doing a bit of coaching in London, basis of a book, and the books are interesting because next couple of weeks we'll probably start doing some book information. So
Recommendations,
recommendations on books, a bit of coaching, a bit of short videos. Yeah. So get ready for that coming.
Ooh.
I love a good book. Right? But since I'm getting older, I've turned into one of those people that buys books, but rather watches YouTube videos.
That's Kelsy. I haven't introduced her yet, but she's there though. She's speaking. So, Kelsy.
Yes, sorry.
So look, this is someone both me and Mark have coached over the years. I think we first met in 2014 when I was working at Park Dean with you, and then for lack of a better mentor, you picked me. So you've gone from revenue assistant to having your own team, being a manager. Actually, you've been paying it forward and training your own team leader, setting them objectives, doing reviews, millions of projects.
One of the things he should have mentioned, Kelsey, is that when he does the editing, there's normally only one of us on screen. So, is that right, Simon?
Yeah, I usually switch it depending on who's speaking.
Yeah.
So
that's why you probably notice me for unusually keeping quiet quite a bit.
Or picking his nose and that, but he'll do it in between someone else chatting. Because he knows I'm going to cut that bit out. Same as when I've got my vape stick on the go. It's usually when he's speaking.
So, if I start talking, he normally runs out the room and grabs his biscuits or gets something and then comes back.
Oh, the number of times it's, damn me, my vape's run out, so I'll just run round the corner, grab a little bottle of stuff.
I'm quite sure, actually. Well, actually, there's a couple of lads, like I've told people about your podcast at work, right?
Aye.
So, Don and Ollie, so chatting away to them, and apparently they watched one of your recent podcasts, and I think Simon must have got up to close the door. He goes out of the room.
Yeah,
you should edit
it might have been the live one, mightn't it?
Might have been I.
Oh, might have
I
been.
would have been I. Would have been I.
I'm glad you were just going out of the room and you weren't going to the toilet or flushing the toilet.
Taking a dump.
I've done that before to him, Kelsey. I log in and he's in the other room and I start whispering things through the mic. Fish finger sandwiches.
He did that, and I heard him log in and I just happened to be making a cup of tea in the kitchen. Of course, these are all Bluetooth and that. I just thought, he'd be clicking and he got really close to the mic and just belted that out. I said, what are you doing?
The first question we were going to ask you, Kelsey, what's your definition of a loose gadgie?
Aye.
Ooh. So, here, right, question on a question, which is really bad. Is gadgie a Geordie term? It is, isn't it? Are we owning that? Yeah?
Aye.
Definitely. We'll own that, right.
If not, then might as well stop the podcast. Whole thing's based on that.
Did you even do your research?
A couple of gadgies.
Used to, I like.
Yeah, well, gadgie's actually the French word.
I like how Mark
biscuit.
pulled his face. He's like, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't do the research. Simon would.
Simon 100% would have been all over that.
Yeah.
In the detail.
Yeah.
Fully in the detail.
Gadgies actually comes from the Indonesian word for fridge.
See, you just know. I thought I had loads of random knowledge, but you.
There is a place called Batman over there, though.
What, in Indonesia? Yeah. Interesting.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said.
No, because Simon's going to waffle on. So back to the question. So loose gadgie is my definition. So I would say it's definitely referring to the older generation. A lot of older people, especially like my granddad, my dad. Bit raggy, bit off the map, just pretty much just a bit loose. A bit loose, like a bit tapped in a nice banter way. But the thing is, right, a lot of people that meet us, like from down south, our banter is really loose and can be quite offensive. But we just, I always have to remember to tone it down, because when I'm with my mum and my family, my mum, that's really posh, my mum, Jackie, I normally call her Jackie. So when I'm with Jackie, like, it's full on. People are really surprised. Like, if they see what I say to my mum, like, they're just like, you never said that to your mum. So the other day, right, we're talking about goblin puddings at work.
Nah.
And I was telling them that, like, Jackie still eats goblin puddings. I was like, she's a proper dirty bitch. And everyone just looked at us and said, you don't call your mum a dirty bitch. I was like, I call it to her face, because she's a dirty bitch for eating goblin puddings. So I'd call her a loose gadgie.
What are goblin puddings?
What? You're not right. So if you cannot remember, this is just horrific. So Frey Benter's pie.
Yes.
And goblin puddings.
That's what
they're
I was
like
thinking.
pies in a tin.
Pie in a tin.
Pies in a tin. But Frey Benter's, right? Frey Benter's, probably, if I was force-fed that, I'd still eat it, because you know what it is? The crusty and the pastry bit is really nice, but it's really bad for you.
How high,
So
how high
I
the
only
pastry
don't eat
goes?
it.
It's
Exactly,
like 9 foot when
yeah.
you take it out the oven. Bloody hell, that's good.
That's the best bit, because you know you're not eating real meat. There's
There's
no
about
way
3
that
bits of it in
meat
there.
in that pie is real. It's probably horse. Going back to Iceland crack, it's probably horse in the Frey Benter's pie. But goblin pudding, right, is Gizmo. Is there any need?
Well, maybe he likes the Frey
goblin pudding-
Bentos. What are you on about?
I know. Got no food.
What are you
Sorry.
on about with Frey Bentos?
So goblin.
It's good quality stuff, that. Give us the numbers.
Prejudice.
Goblin pudding. Well,
Sausages.
so goblin pudding is a red tin. You used to normally get it in a red or blue tin. It's basically suet pudding with meat and
Can
gravy.
you still get
Right.
that?
Honestly,
You can still
just
get
filthy.
them.
My ma's filthy.
I mean, where's
Yes, of course you can. If you go to Asda, God, some of the stuff they sell in Asda these days is like a proper 90s revival.
It's Mark's
The
favourite
food
store,
that they
that.
still sell pre-packed
Yeah.
Asda.
Like,
Why?
Bold
I like
and
the
Asda.
windows in there.
Was
Yeah.
it a Bold and
Like
Asda?
the-
You could map the place out,
Bold and Asda, aye.
blindfolded.
I know exactly what time to go in for the whoopses.
Aye. The whoops is all the yellow labels.
Oh, I never do the whoopsies, you know, because it's always surrounded by loads of people, and you have to literally push through, and I couldn't be bothered. For the sake of like a banana that goes out of date the next day or whatever. But good on you, Mark, for doing that, because cost of living is ridiculous at the moment,
Well,
so I
there's-
should
there's-
start doing it.
I think, when you get into your belief system and stuff like that, I feel the need to have to win. And I think if I get something for 20p, like a pack of crumpets, I feel like I'm winning.
It's exactly what my brother does. That's what my brother does. He comes back.
No.
We get a photo at least once a week in the family WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Oh, this £11.82 should have been £32.56. But there's random weird crackers and bits of fish I've never heard of. Are you going to eat that? It's the only thing I'd get with that is
know
the
where
ham
that's-
and the buns. What's the rest of that stuff? He's got all these cakes and stuff. What are you doing? Is this just like a mountain
You know where
of
that
stuff?
stemmed from? That stemmed from you, Mark, is because you used to work with Marks and Spencer's, didn't you? And you used to get some really good offers at the end of the day.
Yeah, we used to go.
But they had good food.
We used to go up in Newcastle city centre, the back door, and Marxie's, and get
Mate.
everything for like 2p.
That's brilliant. That is really good.
Yeah.
What was your best, cheapest find? What was the best and cheapest find?
Oh, I mean, at Christmas time, Christmas Eve, we used to go up there Christmas Eve just after they closed, and I used to pretend I was homeless because they would give it to us for free.
But hang on. How do you pretend you're homeless?
Have you seen the clip?
Like that.
Have you seen the clip of that?
Just look filthy and just bend your glasses.
Yeah.
See, you tapped Luz Gadji off the map.
Got
So,
the age, got the look.
so
Got
Kels,
the age, got the look.
your topic,
Yes.
which I was fascinated by when we had a catch up last night, in that it's not just perceptions within your own sex, sort of like a woman going out with an older man and an older woman is perceived sometimes differently and from the man's angle, so the man with an older woman or a younger girl. But it seems that I was saying to you last night that most of the blokes that I know, if they see a woman with an older man are like, oh well, she clearly wants a bit of maturity, stability. Doesn't want, an absolute child. Wants someone who's set up. He's got himself together. We see it as quite a positive thing. And then you said, oh well, with the girls though, when they find out, you get a lot of grief. Because that's your preference, isn't it? You'd rather have someone that's older than you than younger than you, right?
Yeah, it's always a good topic, because over the years it has obviously I think from my perspective it probably started from it's probably like a status symbol. If you look at how celebs do it, like a lot of celebrities, so Russell Crowe is in his late 50s, or you've got like Brad Pitt, who's currently in his 50s and he's dating a girl that's 27. Leonardo DiCaprio is going out with someone that's 23. He's 46. So I think because celebrities do it, it's a lot more, it's okay. So from a bloke's perspective, so the reason why I wanted to really
do you
chat
think
about
that's a status
this,
thing the other way around then?
What, the
It gives
female going out with the older man?
That gives you status, but when it's a man with a younger woman, that gives him status. So do you think that's sort of the opposite way around? That if you get status being with an older man, the man gets status being with a younger woman. In some ways.
So from a female dating the man, so younger female dating the older man, feeling like there's a status symbol there, do you mean? No, so let's just put it from my experience, and obviously I'd like to think that we'll come back to you guys because I definitely want to find out if you have had this. So from a female in the 30s, I think it's when you have a conversation with an older man, right? Or with blokes, his friends or his blokes, mates, whatever you want to call them, these maras. They're always like cheering them on. Yeah, that's great. It's amazing. You're a bloke in your 50s. You're going out with a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, even though there's like a 20, 25 gap, 15-year gap. As a bloke gets older, it's seen as okay for them to be dating younger women, and men share that on. But actually, if you have that same conversation with women, so, well, from my perspective, when I told my friends, my maras, that I was there's probably another story to this as well, because I didn't really know that person's age at the time. He lied, which is funny. It's funny because I know. So that's another thing I'm going to get onto in a minute, right? But even better. So I was dating a bloke who was in his 50s. So I'm 36 for reference. So I was dating when I was 35. He was 52, 53 at the time. So for me, even though I knew he was an older man, I wasn't that concerned that he was in his 50s, because I always liked dating the older man. I didn't think I was ever going to go with a man that was in his 50s. I always thought about 45, that was fine. It just happened. We just crossed paths, we dated, great, had that experience. But when I told my friends and families, my maras, they were like really struck back by the fact that he was like 16, 17 years older than me, and it wasn't really like, hey, yeah, cheering us on, or just like, right, okay, that's a bit. And the first thing they said, well, what happens if you have a relationship with him and then 5 years time he's nearly 16, you want to push him around in a wheelchair? So that's how they say it. Do you know what I mean? And I get it, and it was banter, and it's funny, but I get it, because I suppose it depends what the outcome is, because me at that time, I was dating him, and it was just dating. There was no outcome. I didn't want to be married, didn't want to have kids, so it depends on your outcome. But the girls were just like, what? He's nearly 60, and that's how they say it. Whereas men are like, yeah, you're dating this girl, she's lush, she's youthful, she's got soft hair. Like, you know what I mean? So it's completely different. And what's your thoughts? Like, do you think that is similar to what I've just said, or?
Do you think
have you dated younger women yourselves?
Yeah.
We would sort of discuss this beforehand. I dated a lady that was 10 years younger than me, and I also I was involved with somebody that was 13 years older than me. So I had both perspectives, which was And I sort of, and I wouldn't have said it was a choice. I would say it was more luck. But do you think yours is more of a choice or just luck?
Define luck.
Well,
As in-
you talk about crossing paths, and you could cross paths with a 20-year-old or a 50-year-old. Do you think subconsciously it's a choice to be with spend time with an older man, or do you think it was more luck that it was an older man?
Well, this is probably completely another subject as well, because I'm a firm believer is in something's meant to happen, so the world brings two people together, or whatever happens at that time.
Don't say that.
time.
Mark, he hates it. Yeah, he doesn't
I
believe
don't
in
believe
karma
in
and out like
luck.
that.
I believe.
I'm gonna turn him around eventually. Turn him around.
I love that, because that's great, because Mark, we're totally opposite with that, because I don't believe in luck. I believe in what happens in your life. You've created that situation, so at that point, at that time, when I've crossed paths with that person,
Things have a net result.
it was like kind of seeing that person in the past, and I was like, actually, it was all I already kind of planted the seed. So the age thing didn't even cross my mind. So I don't think it was luck. No, I was looking. It wasn't
a conscious choice, but if you had two men you got on well with equally well, and there was a 40 and a 50, which one are you going to pick?
That you can't really have an answer to that.
I guess
question,
I'm just wondering whether there's a bias, whether there's a conscious or unconscious bias, or whether it's just that he just happens to be 50.
So you're going to laugh at this, because Don and Ollie, right, from work, I mentioned them because we always have really good banter conversation. I'll go on lunch with them at work, because when we chat at work, it's always like, let's say, a man's perspective, a woman's perspective, and it's good crack actually, because we have dating conversations, we talk about loads of different topics, and we have totally de-stresses from the work day, so it's brilliant, because we just get on so well. And Don and Ollie always take the piss out of us, because I physically do not have a type in man. So I can't tell you, right, what attributes in a man would really turn me on, or would really say I want to be with him forever. It's all about... There's so many different factors. So if you're saying there's a 50-year-old man, there's a 40-year-old man, I could not look at that 40 and 50-year-old and be like, I'm going to go with him because he's 10 years younger, because it doesn't work
That's
like
kind of
that.
what I was driving at. What conscious or unconscious factors are there? And is it more about how you end up feeling rather than anything about some, these...
You know what it is? In the most shallow way,
Yes.
in the most shallowest way. People will deny this, but everyone does this. I think if you put two people in front of each other and you got told, right, you have to pick someone a day, naturally you're probably going to be, I find him more attractive. It is shallow, of course it is, but you will go for the person that's more attractive. So I literally tried dating apps for 2 weeks, right, and I really struggled. I got bored, not because of the people, it was more so because, like you've just said there, you've stated your height, right? So the first thing someone's picked up is, right, he's too short, rather than actually get to know the person. When you're physically messaging these people online, it's so, like, it's
a shopping list.
It's hard.
It's a shopping list
but it's
on
not,
dating apps. I've found that, there's millions, so I can have exactly what I want. That's the impression I get.
But it's hard as well, because there's actually no emotion into it, so you're trying to, like, decipher all these messages. But just for reference, right, within that 2 weeks, you're gonna laugh at this, right? One of the, I think it was, I'll not call out the name of the date now, but one of the dating apps I went on, I lasted a full day, because no word of a lie, right? Put it on. It was a picture of me with my dog, right? Nice, simple, looked like a girl like you would like to take home to your mum. I was fully clothed. I had my hair all sensible. Didn't have full-on eyelashes or full makeup, nothing like that. I looked like a really, let's take her home to your mum. Had about 60 messages. 59 of them messages were dick pictures.
Aye.
Well, am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to know if I want to marry you by your dick? Like, how does that work?
It's not the prettiest part of a man either, is it?
Exactly, like... What woman wants
unless-
to look at the messages and
me,
be
of
like,
course.
right, I'll pick him, and I'll pick him because his dick looks really well. What did you say?
It's just not the prettiest part of a man. Let's say me, of course.
Oh my
Look at this
God.
face, though. So I mean,
So maybe the dick picture will work for you then.
It's better. It's better looking. It's better looking than your boxer's nose that looks like it's been broken.
So at least you weren't getting loads of vagina pictures. So at least you did have someone that messaged you.
Minge pics.
You never really hear that from women, do you?
Minge pics.
Nah. Muff pics.
What?
You never hear that from women, do you? I sent him me vagina picture.
I know.
Me vagina. Like, do you know what it is? I'm sick of getting these muff pics.
I know. Like, I got sick, honestly. I just lasted a day and I was like, well, how am I supposed to pick someone on the basis his dick is one dick's this colour, one's curly?
I bet you a tenner that was plenty of fish.
It was plenty of fish, it was.
I've been on there. It's shocking.
I'm happy with, I'm just happy with the fact that if I meet the right person in a supermarket, I'll do that. I'd rather do that than be on a dating website. At least there's some emotion into it.
Ideally, yeah.
Here's a question from the dating app then. So, what are your 3 non-negotiables that they must qualities they must have?
Non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. They must meet those 3 criteria.
I've got things that are not non-negotiables, but they're deal breakers.
My first one was trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
But how? No, hang on. So this is a dating website. How can you know you can trust the person? What, just because they're feeding you some information doesn't mean you can trust that?
Yeah.
They might have told you that they're 50, but they're actually 56.
Yeah, it's something you build, isn't it? That's not something you...
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark.
You know, and you're gonna find out pretty quickly whether, if you actually met somebody, you go through the dating process, you're going to meet them, and you're going to find out very quickly whether trust is high on their sort of quality list, their values, their beliefs, aren't you? So, and it's something, I chose it because it's something that in some of the previous relationships was not there from the other party. There was a severe lack of trust and quite a lot of lying going on. Then the other bit, the second one for me was the flexibility to grow individually and collectively. So I believe you have to be able to grow on your own and together. So doing your own thing.
So you couldn't be with somebody who totally depends on you. Like someone who's just besotted with you and wants to do everything with you, needs to go everywhere with you and relies entirely, like very dependent. You'd rather have an individual who enjoys your company than someone that needs you, as it were.
Yeah, I think it's when you take Kelsey's netball, I used to play football and I do my own things now as well, and Anita does her own things, but collectively we do things together as well. Which actually, so you take it as a 3-way combination. You get a bit of variety by self and together. So
I agree with that, Mark. I agree.
Yeah, that was like Arik. That was like Arik, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where he and his wife had, was it a week or 2 weeks holiday a year that was just them, and the other one would stay behind, look after the kids. He'd go off and do his snowboarding and come back, and then she went off on her. I'm sure it was something like a week or 10 days, something like that. And
she
that
went and did some cooking for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was their agreed thing. I think she went to Italy or something, didn't she?
Yeah, she did the dishes for 2 weeks.
Shut your face. But I just thought, I was surprised when I heard it, but when he explained the logic, I thought, actually, you get out of each other's hair for a week, and then you get to go and do the thing that you want to do, and they don't get to decide what that is. It's all up to you. Like, that's my week where I go and do whatever that thing is. And his was snowboarding, as it happened. But
yeah, and my third one is just call it humour or laughter. You have to be able to laugh a lot. Laugh at each other, laugh together.
Yes, you feel it when that's missing. When that's missing, I didn't realise until later in life how important that was, and it was with my last long-term relationship. She says, "You're not funny, you. In fact, you're funny when you're not trying to be funny." I said, "What does that mean?" And I've pondered on it ever since. I'm like, "What does that mean, though? What does that mean?" So when you're not trying to be funny, you're funny, and our sense of humour was so different. And it wasn't, and it was at that point, reflecting back on it once we'd finished, reflecting back on it, I thought, that was absolutely missing. Because it's a long, you could spend a long time together. If you can't laugh at shit, then you're doomed, right? if you can't laugh problems off, if you
Yeah.
can't enjoy things in a funny way, or if everything turns into a horrific argument, if you can't take the piss out of each other as well, that sort of stuff. Yeah,
But sometimes that
it has to
starts
be there.
off in the beginning, and you just lose that for life. I think some couples just get really serious. Hence why what Mark's just said, you either grow together or you grow apart, and the growing together is really important.
Or one of you drifts
So what was
drifts off. Yeah,
what was yours then, Si?
I've got some deal breakers, I guess. Not sure if I can think of 3. But
Start with
humour.
one.
Humour is definitely on the list.
Start with one.
Humour's definitely on the list.
Yeah.
I understand the whole trust part. I've got to be able to trust them so that we can have this time apart, time together. And then when they're away doing whatever it is they're doing, and I'm off doing what I'm doing, I can just fully enjoy it. And just leave them off doing whatever it is they're doing without thinking, what are they up to? I haven't heard from them. And just not really trusting that they're doing the thing they say they're doing. And I mean, look, I've had a couple of relationships end in cheating, her cheating. It's a horrific feeling. It really is, and I don't want that to happen again. So I mean that kind of thing, that if I can't have trust and can't have some sort of honesty. Me and Kelsy have had this discussion in the past that I'd rather someone was brutally honest, and then I know where I am. I mean, I've had that,
Yeah.
especially with the way my autistic brain works and the history I've had with that. I'd rather someone just said, look, that was a bit like this, or I don't like this, or can you do a bit more of that, or stop doing this. I'd rather someone, and I can be very logical as long as you put it to me in a way that's meant to be constructive, as long as you're not having a go or getting angry about it. If you can just come and say, look, I don't like this. Oh, really, why? And I don't get upset. You can tell me almost anything. And I can't think of anything you couldn't. But you can say anything to me. And as long as I know that you mean it constructively, I don't take offence. I'll just listen. It could be as difficult or as personal as you like. And you can just say it and I'll listen. So as long as we can have that honesty and not have a relationship drift apart because we didn't speak. Why didn't we speak then? Like, I'm here. You should feel that if there's something I'm not doing that you need, and it's not too much of a thing to do, like if it's a reasonable ask, and I'm just not doing it because I don't know I need to do it, and there's going to be plenty of that given how my brain is, then I'd rather you just said it. I'm not going to feel offended or upset or what. I'd rather just say, I wish you did this more, or could you stop doing this? Yeah, fine, I'll stick it on the list. There you go, done. What have you? So it has to be a bit of humour. You've got to be honest. And then, don't know if there's how else. I mean, once if you can be honest about stuff and we can have a laugh about things, then. And I think the only other thing I'm conscious about is probably what's put me off dating for so long is it's just my neurology. I don't know if anyone can really truly tolerate it. My friends do.
Right, what's mine? I know, and it's a hard one because I'm like the people. So the men I've dated in the past have all been actually different. There's never been a common trend. Well,
There must be things that
So I think-
there must be things that put you off though. There must be at least 2 or 3 things that are like, no, that's it. Can't do that.
so my top one is, and you guys obviously from the coaching and from catching up on weekly basis, you know, like I'm an ambitious.
Yeah.
I have a goal, so I'm constantly moving.
Yeah.
So like. I think my number one is similar to yours, Mark, around it's about you meet the right person, you grow together, but you also have that space to be able to do the stuff that you want to do. So I play netball, I've got a demanding job, I've just added the army reserves onto my list, I've got dogs, friends, family, just a busy lifestyle like everybody else. And the right person will fit into that lifestyle. I totally understand it, and there will come a point where no, actually I want to settle down again, but at the moment, for me to really have a man to stand out, my number one would be, actually, I love life. I want to experience life. There's so much out there that I want to do and so much I want to see. It'd be nice to have that with somebody and who also got it. And I find that for me personally is it's hard to find a man who understands my lifestyle, who wants to be involved in that lifestyle and also experience life with you. There's a lot of, sorry, I can't say that as a generic term, as a lot of, because I haven't dated a lot of men, but the men I have dated tend to understand it at first, but then because they slow down and they want to be in the house on a daily basis, they want to play on the game on a daily basis. That's nothing against that. It's just not me. I mean, don't get us wrong, I love a weekend in. If I can have a Saturday night in and just watch bloody Netflix or learn from YouTube videos or watch me netball, I'll happily chill with the dogs or go for a nice long dog walk. I actually have to switch off, and that's how I do it. And it would be nice to have a guy who can do the busyness but also have that settle down. But the men I have met do like to be more comfortable in terms of they like to be in the house. They don't want to venture out too much. So it's a bit of a hard one for me.
Do you feel like you have to? Do you feel you have to compromise anything of what you prefer to be in that relationship? You know, is there things that you end up compromising and that frustrates you?
No, and this is the thing, right? Because I find the men, and I meet the men, great, really good personalities, nothing against them, have great conversations or relationships, but it's me that I'm not your average female. I won't stick around for anybody. I don't need people in my life. So if something's not right for me, I can just walk away. If it doesn't feel right, so that's a relationship. It's with friends, but it's with family. And I know it sounds really brutal, but if you don't add value into my life, I'm not changing what I really enjoy. Unless obviously there's a difference between changing just to make something work for two people. That's different. But in terms of what I want, I know what I want. So similarly to what you said, Simon, I like what I like and I know what I like. So in terms of where I'm at, like I was in a long-term relationship for years, and there was a lot I learned, and because of that, like if you don't do what you want to do and you slow down for somebody else or you change for someone else, sometimes that's not right, because then you're missing out on opportunities that you should be doing. There's so much out there. There's millions and millions of men, millions and millions of women, right? Don't be that person that sticks with that other person just because you've got a feeling. It's an emotion. I feel this is probably me. This is Mark. All the emotional stuff. It's just a feeling, Kelsey. So yeah, don't.
I said
all this coaching with Mark. This is Mark's fault. I have no emotions anymore.
in one of the podcast episodes that if you're with someone just because, then technically you're with somebody else's girlfriend. Because if they're not for you,
you're holding on to
someone who's perfect for someone else. And meanwhile, the person that you're meant to be with is either on their own or they're also with the wrong person. So they're not a good match. And I remember you talking in the break room years ago about that relationship you were referring to. And one of the things you kept saying was that he just likes to stay in the house. Like, he never takes us anywhere. He never wants to. I keep asking him, do you fancy going? And he just seems to not have the motivation to go out, or like it used to be there, but it isn't. And he just wants to sit around and he plays this and he does that. And I thought, well, that's probably the worst thing for you, because I've always described you as being either full of beans or having ants in your pants. Like, you can't sit down for 5 minutes. You either crash completely and sit and watch and binge your Netflix and your YouTube, or you're the opposite and you're out and about, you're climbing something, or you're running along something, you're walking on something, you're going to see something, taking pictures of something. I mean, you look at your old Facebook profile, it's just you on rock walls diving into something out in the middle of nowhere somewhere, standing doing something.
The thing is, right, social media was years ago. I'm not on social media. I've never been on my social media for years because actually, just for me, no reason I came off. It was more so I just got to a point where I was constantly on my phone, and it didn't stop me from doing something. But actually, I just trialed it for a couple of days and realised that I had no impact by not having social media. I don't miss it. if we are friends or if we need to see each other, we would pick up the phone and we would talk. And I found that people on social media who say they are your friends or you're doing stuff, they're technically not. There was actually, sorry, I lie. There was a reason why I did. One of the reasons why I came off was because someone had commented and liked a profile picture or something from years ago. So this is going back years. And I'd walk past them in the street and they didn't even speak to us. And I was like, that is just so mind-boggling.
That sort of sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That one of your 6,300 friends, you walk past them in the street and they're like, who are you?
But yeah, that was so mind-blowing. So I came off social media, but that was mainly all my 20s stuff. So as I hit my 30s, my 30s just got like, oh my God, so much more interested. I climbed more things. I did more stuff. I experienced more life. After that relationship, I was like, I kind of like thought I lived under a rock when I was in my 20s versus now. Because that long-term relationship, he was an amazing guy, right? Honestly, but like you say, we grew apart, and you know what it is? He's now married with kids. So you're right. He was someone else's partner. He just wasn't for me, and he was an amazing guy. Just wasn't part of my life at that point. I was going through a different stage. I was growing as a person, and now I'm doing majority of the stuff I want to do in my 30s. And eventually, it would be nice to have that person in your life who understands it and wants to do those things as well.
So you would say that if a man isn't ambitious, that's unattractive.
Yeah, because I want, you know what it is? An ambitious man as well. And this is probably where this older man thing comes into. Why I like dating the older men is because I learn a lot from an older man. Whereas I find younger men don't have the similar experience. And they don't have the amount of stories. And I love a good story from men when they were younger. Yeah, I'm so interested in people's lives. I love people, love stories. So maybe that's where that stems from. By dating an older man, probably has something to do with the fact that I learn from him.
So you could say one of your deal breakers is ambition then, or lack of ambition. If they're not an ambitious man, don't have things that they want to do, or they're like, well, I'm in a job, I'm earning money, I've got a house, I've got my stuff. Yeah, but what else? What else is there not? Do you not want a better job? Do you not want a different house?
But interestingly, Si, you said earlier at the start of the call around about dating older men. Is it a money thing? But actually, for me,
is it perceived that way by other people?
It's perceived that way, but that's never a consideration for me. The only consideration, and I hope this does not make me sound like a snob, right? I like men, and I would like a man that if I dated, not to be earning less than me, because I don't want to look after him. I know that doesn't make me sound like a snob.
Well, no, but that doesn't tie in.
Don't want to be
Doesn't that tie into your ambition though? That you say, well, why are you earning less than me? I mean, are you not doing better? Could you not do better? Why haven't you been going for a promotion?
Because it should be about love and not money, Simon.
No, but you want the best, and you want a man that's motivated to do better rather than someone who's content or complacent. You want them to say, well, is that enough? Different if they went, you know what, I've achieved me thing. Yeah, but then you would expect them to have a goal somewhere else. Right? So, well, if it's not a career goal, then what's your personal goal? Where are you going to go?
This is going to sound really mean, but like a Raji from our local area, he was literally going to Greg's for his dinner every day, and he was on the dole. I'm sorry, this is going to offend people, I hope not. But that would just be a consideration, unfortunately. That sounds so horrible.
No, but,
don't put this in the call.
No, but you're trying to sort of set a standard for what... You're trying to say, well, a man should have standards for himself. So it's not necessarily about your standards. It's about you saying, well, he should at least know what his are. And you could probably tolerate someone who eats at Greg's every day if you found out he was a person who invested in loads of businesses. He helps all these other charities set up. He just happens to like going to Greg's every day. But if he's doing it and he's sat on his arse doing nothing, that's different to a man who, well, he doesn't eat well and he's not asked about food. But have you seen he's set up 15 businesses?
I was going to say, is this allowed to be number 2? Mark, I'm definitely a snob on that, right? But if a man doesn't eat half healthy, at least, like if he was going to Greg's for his lunch every day.
You've got about 9 types of salt in the house, haven't you?
Himalayan salt. It's the best salt for you because it's full of antioxidants.
I know exactly. I remember overhearing some conversation at work once where you were talking about some pink salt you had, and I went, "Wait, what are you on about?" And then,
No, but I have takeaway, Si.
and then ever since then, I'm like, "You are full on
Well
about
done,
your
Mark.
minerals and your this and your that, and oh, so much so for your birthday, I bought you your grow your own veg."
You did, yeah. You did. And,
Think
and you know what it is, right? What's Mark got? What's our tea bag?
Hey,
Ginger,
Hey.
peppermint.
hey,
Well done.
two things.
But-
Two things. Don't leave the tea bag in, and two, it's not tea.
Tea bagging.
You can't describe that
bagging.
as tea just because it's some stuff in a bag and it's got hot water in it. Tea is tea. Tea has not got roses in it.
We're not all PG tips,
No.
you know.
No. Tea
PG.
is made from tea.
But Mark, Simon, is this why I've never found the love of my life? Am I too snobby?
No,
got
what
two
I
high
was
standards.
interested in, Kelsey, was if you.
It's not a word I
you're,
use.
you're sort of. You're 35 now, aren't you? 35?
36.
36. So,
Mid-30s. Yeah.
in terms of the maths, when you look back 5 years and you're looking at somebody, say, 40, you are becoming closer to that sort of. So, how does the maths work in terms of your outlook?
Huh?
Well, actually, interestingly, you asked this because I was going to ask you both about max age. Should there be? Obviously, when in my 20s, right, I'd never even thought about dating anybody older than me, especially not in the 40s or 50s. That was always a write-off. But as I'm getting older, I'm really comfortable at the fact that a man in his 40s, 50s, I think pushing past the 55s is a little bit too much for me as my current age, because I think 55 and above, that is like going into old territory, like your granddad. I mean, bearing in mind...
Bear in mind, Mark's 55.
Bearing in mind, no, but Mark, put it in perspective.
He's got
36,
dodgy
right?
knees. He's almost an
No,
Zimmer
it's
frame.
not that. No, I need to give you context, right? Because my dad is 55.
You're off the trip.
Is
You're
he?
off the trip, Mark.
Yeah, so that's the context. So if I'm dating a 55-year-old man, he's the same age as my dad.
Yeah.
Remember, we're from the northeast to start young.
You're right.
So,
In terms of 55, but I was just sort of thinking. So some of the guys that you would probably have thought when you 5 years ago, they're catching up. I know it doesn't sound right, but I would say as you're getting older, you could go up and down the scale now, can't you? In terms of maturity.
That's true, because once you hit, say, your 40s, the other men have sort of caught up in the maturity. When you were like early 30s, you were looking at early 40s in men. So you could kind of keep that sort of static limit. As you're moving up, that limit can actually be a bit more blurry around, you know.
But interestingly, right, I don't have any interest in dating a younger man. It doesn't appeal to me. So I would like to take it off my list to say I've slept with a man in his 20s and I'm like nearly 40. Just to be like, I can still do it. And I think maybe this is why men do it. You know what I mean?
Put that notch on the bed.
I've still got it. I've still got it.
Scribe that one in.
On the bedpost.
Exactly. Like, no, like, this is going to, without going into too much detail, like, but from being older woman now, just to see how advanced I've come as a woman versus these younger men, because you're a bit more experienced, would it be like I would like to make that lad's day, so he's
tear him
in
to
20s,
bits.
it'd be like, great.
It's time to get in there.
Just be the teacher for a change rather than learning.
Honestly, she came in the room, she just had us all hour. She had us all hour.
Is that all you've got?
Hi.
I know. But speaking of age, right? So for the pair of you, because Simon, you're 40s, Mark's 50s.
Aye.
What? How do you like in terms of
I look
up and
30s
down? What would be your oldest? What would be your youngest? And would you do that?
I wouldn't go older, no.
You wouldn't go older. Why?
I want kids.
Why? Oh, that's right. That's a good answer. Yeah.
Simple as that.
Just purely because you want kids,
Yeah.
nothing in terms of looks.
Childbearing age.
youthfulness,
This is the daft thing, right? I'm constantly being grilled by my younger, but fussy. But look, right. My needs are very simple. Can you have kids? Yes.
You are simple.
Do you have shut your face? I was called Not So Simple Simon in Germany. I'll have you know. Anyway, can you
Mark.
shut up, you?
Where's the list?
Can you genuinely make us laugh? Like genuinely, like can you do something? And it has to be somewhat daft because my sense of humour is, you're not funny, Mark. Simple as that.
That's a good. You know what it is, Simon. It's a good answer, and that instead of saying, "Oh, it was generally down to looks," because again, speaking of a woman in our mid-30s, and I'm sticking with mid-30s even until I'm 39. Like there's another stigma around. The first thing I get asked if someone meets me, or if there's a friend or a relative hasn't seen us for ages, you're 36, are you married yet? Have you got kids? It's like, as a female, there's an expectation to be really settled down at my age and to have those things. And it's like, well, actually, I don't want to be married. I don't want to have kids. It's not something on my list right now, and shouldn't be the first question that you... But it's always females. It's never men that ask those questions. And that, if I say you, Simon, and you told me you were single, I'm not going to say, why you not got kids? Why are you not married?
No, but you'd have a go at a bloke if he didn't have a job in his 40s or in his 30s. You're like, you haven't got a job.
Aye, that's a good point.
Do you know what I mean? So there are expectations of, like, sex-related expectations, but they are
true.
dramatically different, and they're still quite stereotyped, I think. Still quite
Not as bad.
Not as bad as it
nowhere
was,
near
no,
as
but
bad
there's
as what it
still...
used to be, yeah.
I mean, it depends on the age group you're talking to, but there are some stereotypes still floating about. Oh, you haven't done that yet. Well, maybe I don't want to. I mean, it should be okay for you to say, do you know what? I just don't want kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
yes, selfish. Yes, selfish. I'm not.
What happens if you can't have them?
Exactly.
Prawn.
That never comes in the equation.
What?
What did you say? Prawn?
Yes,
Prawn?
selfish.
Shut your face. See, told you it wasn't
Mark
funny.
just comes to light. But
Totally
Mark,
wasn't
anyways, same question to you then. Age, upwards, lowers, whatever that's even the right way to say it.
Do you prefer it up or down?
Younger? Up or down, in and out.
Or through.
Just take your socks and shoes
Mouth
off
at
and
ear.
count.
Mouth at ear.
And well, I mean, on the basis that I went plus 13 minus 10, I don't really have an age range. So
Which one did you feel better with? Or was it
well, obviously,
two different experiences?
better is an interesting term because I think both had pluses and minuses. When you talk about maturity and sort of from a female perspective, looks, etc. It was. But honestly, I can't say with all honesty that I'm really into the numbers situation on that one. I think maybe because I'm a bit older now as well, Kelsey. At 55, you sort of when you sort of phases of life, between 25 and 40, maybe you're sort of still thinking backwards in terms of relationships, but now it's about forwards. Now I'm sort of, I got to be honest with myself. I'm trying to enjoy the twilight of my life, and it's not really about a number. It's not there.
No, I agree, and this is why it never crosses my mind, because I think if two people have the same values and move together in life, it should never be about a number. Don't get us wrong. If you start talking about 14-year-olds and 30-year-old men, that's
He
a
said she
completely
was
different
12.
conversation.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there are limitations.
TikTok, Snapchat, they look about 25, so yeah, I totally get it.
Don't get me wrong.
That's different.
I've been out with someone who was older than me when I was younger. But there's.
Hang on, how old were you though, Simon?
I was 17
Please
and
clarify.
she was in her 20s.
I've got a deep question for you both.
Yes.
So you can go back to one point in your life. Where do you go back to and why?
What's your answer? Because you've obviously already prepared for it.
Christmas Day 1975.
Oh, why?
My grandparents, mum and dad, brother and sister. Smell of tangerines.
Oh.
I was born in 1975.
Not in my house.
Are you sure you're not his dad, Mark?
Could be.
Could be. Could be.
Maybe why I've got the protraction.
Could be.
Exactly.
Could explain a few things.
Oh, I feel like I'm too young for that question, Mark.
That's all right.
I can't pick a
I'm
specific
joking.
moment. I really can't.
No?
So, you know what it is, right?
A lot of the past is a bit shit. I prefer looking to the future.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah, so there's a lot of shit going on there I'd rather forget about. Or I'm still
Yeah, that's a
rationalising.
shame.
Yeah, there's a few good moments over in Bergedorf, like. There's a few good ones over there. No, I can't really pick picking a moment out to revisit it. So if you could go back in time just to relive it for a bit.
Just look at it.
Ooh, I don't know. Do you know?
Not change it. Just look at it. You know, be there, sense it.
Do you know? I don't know.
There's an NLP technique which is called time something.
Also,
And
like an anchor point.
Yeah, you go back. You sort of lift yourself up, go back, land there, and just look at what's going on around you, and sort of visualize it, smell it, taste it, and it's quite a good exercise. But
That is actually good that you just said that because that's just helped. So mine would be 2019 September, and it would be sitting on a kayak in Slovenia, 9 o'clock in the morning in the bluest, iciest river I've ever been on, knowing that people are in meetings right now, and I'm kayaking the best river ever. It was amazing. Yeah.
thank you
Nice
for sharing.
feeling as well.
I honestly don't know. I'm gonna have to ponder on it.
Yeah, well, you're quite a reflector though, Simon, aren't you? You like time to think about stuff and then come back with it.
But ironically, being a reflector, I normally have an answer for those sorts of questions, like, oh, this, that. No, because the past is something I try not to dip into.
Yeah.
For good reason. I'd rather look forward to either be a bit more present in recent times, but I can't think of
Just another one on these sort of relationships we've been talking about, and I thought about this quite, whether it was the -10 or the +13. I can sort of remember a date or a point where I'm saying that is enough. It's done now. So can you remember those occasions?
Do you know?
What do you mean, as in when you know it's ready to be done?
I've always
That's
been
it.
The relationship.
Done. It's finished.
I've always been
Oh,
bad
yeah.
at that. I've always been bad at that.
Nah. I've.
Like
Yeah,
I
no,
know
it
it,
is, and-
but I won't admit it. I've gone a year knowing it and just went, well, maybe's. Nah, I won't do it now. No way.
I'm brutal.
No way.
Like I'm so brutal.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
I'm so brutal
These
that
days,
if
yeah.
someone did it to me, I'd kick right off. I just like switch off. So if I know I'll have that conversations and this is not for me, and I just block the person.
Yeah.
Because I've told them, I've been open and honest. I'll have the conversation.
Yeah.
I'll tell them why it's not for me anymore. No, I don't end it in a nasty way, but why I block the person afterwards once we've agreed this is the way forward is because I don't want to be inundated with messages and love stuff, and this is why can we change this and why we change that. Once
Decision
I make
is
my mind-
made. End of.
Yeah, I know it sounds brutal, but
No,
I do it in a nice way in terms of I've spoke to the person, we've agreed that it's not right or why it's not right, nothing's going to happen going forward. I don't live in the past as well, so I know.
I'm the
once
same.
I've walked
Same with
away from
friendships,
something,
though.
I don't go back.
It's the same with friendships. There's not people I look back on and go, ooh, no. You've gone. I mean, some of that's just. It's a typical autistic thing, right? That I can move on and forget about you. And something I've struggled with. I think it sounds awful, but it's just the way my brain works. If I can't see it, it's not there. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's not present, if it's not present in my life, like it doesn't exist. Like I'm not interested. I can lose interest in the thing, and then I won't miss it either. I won't miss it. It's a very rare occasion that I'll go, oh, I really miss so and so or such and such. No, like it's not there anymore. Move on. Don't get attached that way. I can be very attached in the moment when that thing's there, and I can be very obsessed and involved in it. But when it's gone, it's gone. That's it.
My hardest one was my long-term relationship though, because obviously I'd been with the guy for a long time, respected him, loved him to bits. It just wasn't for me. So it took me. You're gonna laugh at this, right? But I literally for 4 hours sat upstairs with the dogs watching TV, working in my head how I was going to have that conversation. I kept going to go downstairs, walking back in the room, go downstairs, walk back in the room. So like I say I'm brutal, but it doesn't mean it's easy. So yeah, it was hard.
I remember sitting with you
that.
and you were trying to rationalise reasons to stay, reasons to go, and you said, but there's this, but there's that, and then I would try and counter it with you and say, yes, but somebody else will also understand this, this, and this about you, and do this, this, and this. And you're like, yeah, but, and you, I think the takeaway from that is that you did try and rationalise it. You didn't just go, right, I'm going to explode this whole thing and just make it go away.
Kick it off.
Some people do to make it end. They'll drop a bomb to make it final. Because then now I can't go back.
Like
now I cannot go back because I've made everything explode and I've left loads of damage. So now I cannot. You've kind of went, look, I'm going to end it with respect.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure they can't come back to me by blocking them. So then there's no mess, no fuss, no like, oh, I'm really missing you. Drunk texts. None of that. You went, no, block them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Block. Gone.
It's too tempting.
It's as much for them as it is for you, right?
I'm not a nasty person. I'm not a nasty person, and it becomes too tempting to go back with the person.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think once your past is in the past, you just move on, and then.
So some of it's to do a favour for them as well, isn't it? To block them so they cannot message you.
Yeah.
So they have to
100%.
kind of get over it. Yeah.
It'd be interesting. I was doing a piece of work recently about, how you feel if you got fired from a job and you couldn't pay the mortgage, you couldn't pay the rent, you couldn't pay your bills, and you're devastated. But then you find something better 5 years down the line, and you ask them the question, would you go back to that day? And most people say no. So we just need to grow, and we need to move on, don't we?
That was a hard lesson for me as well. Some lessons, some relationships. You look back and you go, aye, that should have finished the year earlier. Aye, absolutely.
And if you ask the guy, Kelsey, I guess he's a really happy man now. He's happy with what you did and how it sort of ended. He's a happy man.
Exactly. He's got like his own life now, and I knew there would have been more to it had we still continued to speak because. Yeah, absolutely. So it was never done in a nasty way, and every time I've done that, it's never been with nasty intentions. I've had the respect to have that conversation and saying, this is what I am, this is who I am. I can't do the aftermath, and unfortunately, sometimes you do have to be selfish and be thinking about yourself other than the other person. It has to be like that, and
it's not entirely selfish though, is it? Because you've left him in a situation that he's probably chuffed
like
with.
that,
it can be in the moment, but you're also doing them a favour because it's a couple. If you feel he's not right for you, then it also works the other way around, right?
Yeah, and you know what it is, and from the times I have done it, looking at their lives now, like they're happy, they moved on, like so it has worked in their favour.
Is there a period in terms of when we get back on the bicycle, if I can use the pun? How how long should that be before we get back on the bicycle?
There should be. Depends if when you're ready. It's up to you, I think.
Because there can be some prejudice involved in that when people see, oh well, it's only been a month. See, well,
but that's their problem, Simon. That's their problem. Like I don't like people need to stop being so judgmental. It's got nothing to do with them.
Exactly.
Do what you want. It's like if your dog dies. I'm saying this. Sorry, doggies. I love yous all the bits. Yous are not due to be dead soon, so. Close your ears. But if you more closing your ears. if your dog died, right, and say the next day you went and got another puppy, there should be no judge against that. Sometimes people do that to move on. You need to. My mum always told me, what was it? War Jackie. It takes a bloke to get over a bloke.
What? Two men together?
Dad, take that one off my list. I love that. And more Jackie's probably had to eat. No, don't repeat that. She'll kill us.
Yeah.
Two at a time, baby.
What was it Simon told me before? He said, oh, we've only had 27,000 views on YouTube. Nobody will know.
Whoa, Jackie. Jackie loves me. I love Jackie.
I still find it odd that you call her by her first name. I've never been like
it's brilliant. She has, honestly, I'm not... We'll have to one day have a conversation about Jackie and some of the stories she's got, because I can tell you, like, She's had my life.
Is
Actually, I quickly tell you what. I need to quickly tell you one now, right? So when I was younger, we're going back years, obviously. Listen. So I joined the military. I was full-time military. So obviously I'm doing the army reserves now, but back in the day I did do full-time military irregulars. And my pass-out parade. So I've done all my phase 1, blah blah blah. I only found out a couple of years later that she fucking had sex with one of my corporals. I know, Jackie. What the hell? I was like, yes, Jackie, you go, girl. Still got it. Military men after you.
did he pass out as well?
That's quick.
No, he was one of the like corporals. I know. I was like, God, go on, Jackie. She still had the looks, and I'm like, this is probably why I'm like an independent woman, because I just look at more Jackie.
Just out of interest,
One last.
is Ward, Jackie and your dad still together?
No, oh God, no. No. My mum brought, like, it was me, my brother, and my sister, so there was 3 of us. I think they broke up when I was maybe 9 or 10, so didn't. So Ward Jackie, yeah, she's amazing. Honestly, such an inspiration. She's done so much for us, and I mean, to have 3 kids, not have a partner, to be on the dole at the time, getting benefits, to then grow up, do courses, do uni, to have an amazing job where she is now. And actually, she's literally, this is why I'm so proud of her, one of the jobs she's doing now, she's actually mentoring kids with disabilities on how to use public transport. That's a brand new thing in South Shields, a new project. Her and this other woman are actually teaching these kids with disabilities how to physically use public transport, and I just think she's
giving
such
them
an amazing
independence.
person. So yeah, giving them independence. I know, honestly, she's so proud of us, and I'm like, Ma'am, we're so proud of you. Like, it's brilliant. So yeah,
It's a nice story.
That's a nice journey.
She is. She is. Back in the day, she used to work on the fish quay. Did you have anybody that used to work on the fish quay? She used to stink of fish. It was minging and bring all these crab sticks home. It was minging. It was dirty bitch. Oh God! I hope she just listen to this podcast. She'll murder me about all the stuff I've spoke about her. Like,
well, you'll be telling all your friends and family about it, though, won't you? So they'll all watch.
yeah, of course.
And we get 1 million
I'll be telling
views.
people at work.
Good. When we
Yeah.
become rich and famous, Rodney.
Aye. This time next year.
Rodney.
This time next
Am
year.
I Cassandra then?
Cassandra.
Cassandra. Cassandra.
Aye.
Oh, speaking of people, did you see that Jerry Springer died?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
quite liked him.
Yeah,
He
that was a bit sudden.
Our trashy TV in the 90s.
Take care of yourself.
And each other.
What's next week? We've got another one, haven't we?
We have got Anne, another coach. She helps out small businesses and whatnot, and she wants to come and talk about women in the workplace and the roles of women and how it's changed, how it is, how it was, and the work she's done around that sort of thing.
That'll be really good.
Yeah,
Really
it should
looking
be.
forward to listening to that podcast.
Yeah, it should be a good one. So I was really chuffed a bit when she said she'd come on and she wanted to talk about that kind of thing. Oh, that's great. Well, it's perspectives that me and Mark can't really offer. Like we can say, well, look, we've coached women, and we're all for equality and all of that, but it's not the same as a woman come along and say, well, look, this is what it was like.
Yeah.
This is what it's like now. These are sort of, you can't speak to a woman's experience without being a woman, right? So, and she's going to offer some things that we couldn't possibly know. We'll have heard of, but it's never impacted. Even knowing it, you don't know what the impact was. So it would be brilliant, especially her being another, having had coaching experience as well. That being able to bring in all of those perspectives. So seeing it from that angle should be interesting, and all the people that she's helped with these different things and the businesses she's helped grow and whatnot should be cool.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be amazing.
looking forward to it. And then we'll have Robin sometime, in about a month's time or something, talking about the sort of 20s perspective and what it's like growing up in all that's going on at the minute, and all of the
Gen Xers.
all of the controversial
Yes.
gubbins that she's gonna have to tolerate, and if she has kids, what are they gonna walk into? You know, and the kind of stuff that's in the news at the minute.
It's probably, nobody can take your title away from you, Kelsey. You get the title of being the first. So well done.
Oh, yes! Yes, I just realised. I know it's amazing that he's actually invited, because now I can take podcast off your list. I never ever thought this would be something I'd do, because, like I say, I'm not on social media. I'm not really around this kind of stuff, but being listening to your podcast, and it reminds, what it reminds us of? You're going to laugh at this. Remember the Night Owls?
Alan Robson.
Alan
The Flash and
Robson.
Blade.
I used to love the Night Owls, honestly.
Oh, I used to
Listen
sneak a
this, it's
radio
like
into my
reminds
bedroom
us
at
of
night.
that.
Just leave it, when you did the ghost
Yeah.
stories. My mum and dad,
Yes!
get to bed. And I'd already hidden a little radio somewhere in my bedroom. Go upstairs. So me and my brother would just hide.
Honestly,
put it on
like,
a low
it's
volume
just-
and you listen to all the ghost stories in the night time.
Yeah, it honestly, Night Owls, it's so relaxing to listen to. It's like, so thank you for letting me come on. Never mind.
No,
being
it'd be
the
good to
first,
have you on
so thank
again.
you.
And see how things have moved on. See how your
Yeah.
how your Army's Reserve stuff's going. That kind of thing. Do a repeat visit.
Absolutely.
That's been fun.
Yeah,
So, and next week, we've got a couple of other bits coming up with the website as well, and some other content we're gonna start doing and offering stuff coaching based, help people out, offer some books and things, because Mark's got, like, as you can see, he's always got a million different books on the go, and there's some that have definitely helped me, things that he's directed me towards, some definite reads, things that you should read, depending on, situations you're in. I never thought books could help, but they definitely do. Mind management.
They do.
The chimp paradox, yep. And some of it applies. I didn't give books enough credit. Until I started reading some of the things that you recommended, and I went, actually, some other people have got stuff to say and they put it on paper, don't they? It's not all on the internet. Right.
All good.
So, next week we'll have some website news. Well, maybe next week, maybe the week after, depending on how quickly we get through some of this new content we want to put up. And do it right. But the website's in development. Other than that, click the likes, follows. Goes for you as well, Kels. Likes, follows. Tell everyone about it.
Absolutely.
I'll be watching the stats, you know it. I'll be watching all the
Tell
graphs.
Jackie. Tell Jackie.
Tell
Oh,
Jackie.
I will be telling Jackie and the crew, all the Maras.
So until then, take care of yourself and each other.